finally back with another showcase video, which it really hasn't been too long since I haven't done a showcase video.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, more than 3 months, and I apologize for that. I've been too busy with so many things in my life, but I've still been working on figures. So, this will be the second and final showcase video of my Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness spin-off project, that being the Illuminati project. And here I have Superior Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Patrick Stewart's Professor X. Now, some of you might be asking, where's Mordo? Why didn't you make Mordo? And a straight answer to that is because I don't care. I didn't care to make Mordo whatsoever. He was cool in the movie, but still, I just think Superior Iron Man had like a cooler design, and Mordo would have just been the biggest pain for me to make. So, yeah, just went with Superior Iron Man, who was very complicated to make, but a lot simpler and had a lot more of like a simpler design for me to make, and it was easier for me to do. So overall, yeah, I've been working on these figures like ever since July or June or whatever. I recently finished Professor X, and I'm so glad to be finally finished with this project. I'm so happy because this is like my summer vacation project, and I didn't get the time to finish it. So yeah. But overall, with all that said, let's get started. So, starting off with the simplest figure in this showcase, that being Professor X, and like the simplest figure in this entire project. So, I recently finished Professor X, and it was actually a pretty straightforward figure, but the chair was like the biggest challenge. But I'm just gonna get like the main torso out of the way. So like the head is just like a Gandalf head. Like I used this like for my Vulture, my Amazing Spider-Man 3 trailer that I made like back in January. So I just used that head. Works pretty well. Matches and represents like it has Patrick Stewart's likeness pretty well. Like it actually captures his likeness pretty well. The torso is just a very simple torso. It's just basically just like a dark green suit. And basically like painted detail, painted like a blue and black tie. Like this white part was not fun to make, and neither were like these parts right here. Those parts weren't fun to make. The arms have no detail at all, except like first like some buttons over like on close around the wrist of the arms, and some painted white wrists. And yeah, you can and I actually use this like for the torso of my Doctor Doom figure, as you can see. So at least that's the back of the figure. Didn't paint anything in the back. But overall, that's pretty much it for Professor X himself. But his chair is comprised of many different Lego pieces that I basically just put together and just painted in yellow, which I finally got a better yellow paint. I was like using Craftsman, and that paint always cracked. But I got folk art yellow paint, which works perfectly for this chair. This chair has no detail on it whatsoever because I didn't have enough reference. So that's why this chair looks so under detail. But this chair has so many different layers of paint. Like, I don't know how many layers it had, but like, it has like so many thick layers of paint. Just like for like the parts, just like for like the colors of like the parts not to see through. And so, yeah, that was fun. And like the only detail like on the chair are like these two lines here. And it's basically just like, this is a hover chair. I just used a transparent or a clear Lego brick, or like a clear cylinder piece. So that is pretty much it for Professor X chair. And also like on the inside, like I did like a green like double cheese slope there, just like to look like like that Professor X is sitting. As you can see that. And while painting the torso, I actually had to figure out where I should like stop the paint, because this was gonna like rub off the paint at some point. So I had to make sure where the paint will stop, and actually did find a good place for it to stop. So overall, that's pretty much it for Professor X. Like there's not that much to say about him. Overall, it's just like he just has a simple painted torso. But the chair was like the biggest pain, because I was like looking for all the pieces for the chair. But I managed to find them, and actually managed to make a pretty cool looking Professor X hover chair. So yeah, there you go. That's Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and that's actually pretty cool seeing him like just come into council meeting or whatever it was. So that was pretty cool. And I'm glad Patrick Stewart came back as Professor X. The next figure is Captain Marvel, or the Captain Marvel variant, or Maria Rambeau or whatever. Never cared for that character, but it was cool seeing her in the movie. That was cool. And I really did like this suit. And this suit, and painting this suit actually to tell me for what I'm planning to do for the Marvels when that movie comes out next year in July. This is actually kind of helping me for what I'm going to have to paint next year. But overall, this figure was just very, very complex for me to do. Like, I'm not kidding. First starting off with the head. This is actually my very first female face actually painted on a Lego minifigure head, and is actually pretty darn cool. I just got inspiration from a random female Lego face, and I just did like that, and I just painted it. The hair piece I basically just straight up stole from my Electro figure from my Spider-Man No Way Home project, and as you can see, and the face behind it, and I did use in that's if I can get this off, yeah. So it's basically like the same Electro hair piece, and the face behind it is like a random Harry Potter face. So yeah, I don't care about the random Harry Potter face. I don't care. But yeah, painting the neck in gunmetal and just painting that little black slit down there. I'd like to continue this design here. But overall, that's pretty much for the head. The torso was the most tedious part of this entire figure, and that was painting the star. The star was just so tedious for me to make. So what I did is that I painted each corner. I basically painted each part of the star using dark gray. I basically just did as much overlaying as I can just to get the right points of the star. If it was too thin, I had to add a little bit of paint. If it was too thick, I had to overlay with more black paint. It was such a tedious thing, and I had to do it for all sides of the star, for all the points. And then I would paint silver over it, so that the gray was basically an outline for me. And I was actually thinking about making the star a 3D or sculpted piece, but I decided not to do that. And I feel like the painted version was just better. And I did take inspiration from a customizer on Instagram called Mirrorless Lego, I believe. I don't know, but he made a pretty cool Captain Marvel figure, and I highly recommend, if you do have Instagram, go check him out. I think I'll put the name of his Instagram in the description below. But yeah, this torso was just such a pain for me to make, and I actually spent until 2 a.m. painting this torso. I spent 3 to 4 hours straight just painting this, okay? And it was just so tedious for me. And after I painted all the detail, these parts here looked a little bit it looked a little bit plain. So I basically just added some metallic black detail around it, some metallic black highlights around the suit. It looks pretty cool. So overall, yeah, this torso was such a pain to make. And the belt is also a 3D piece that is a 3D piece that I basically cut out and I basically glued. And these two different sections here are two 3D pieces I basically just kind of glued, painted them up. And the gunmetal that you see on this figure is actually a custom gunmetal color. It's not the same gunmetal color that I used on my Mr. Fantastic figure. It was a little bit more darker. This one's a little bit more lighter and has a little bit of a silver tone to it. So that worked pretty well. The arms were also very complicated for me to do, but still managed to get through it. You can see all that paint detail around there. Around the gunmetal areas, I did use silver for the detail. And these 3 gunmetal lines were just such a pain for me to make. And that's the thing when making Lego minifigures. You have to see what is gonna fit on your Lego minifigure so that it does not get too crowded or you have too much space left. Okay, that is one of the challenges of making Lego minifigures. So yeah, the hands have no painted detail whatsoever. The hands have no paint detail at all. The back, I actually did paint the back during the stream. I actually did paint most of it, and this was the end result. So of course, the detail is just ridiculous. I did base this off Lego's design from their Captain Marvel figure from 2019. I did base it off their design. The belt here, 3D piece in this, like in this middle buckle, was also a 3D piece. This design was also very tedious for me to make, and that was not fun, and I absolutely didn't like that at all. But overall, it still looked pretty cool, and it still turned out so good. The legs were also a massive part, especially these designs on the legs. This was such a pain for me to make because, like, I was just like trying to get them as thin as possible, but not making them too thick or too thin at the same time. And trying to get them to look, and trying to get them to look, try to make them look symmetrical to one another, which is also a big pain. That's also one of the biggest pains in painting Lego minifigure legs. You're trying to get the design symmetrical and exactly the same. So yeah, and I actually spent like maybe 2 hours just painting these designs here. Like, I'm not kidding. So, my God, yeah, that was not fun. The boots are fully painted, of course. Like, they are painted in that gunmetal color. It does have some light gray and some metallic black outlines around some metallic black detail. You can see that the light gray does wrap around like all the sides of the minifigure's legs. You can see that it does wrap around on all 4 sides and does continue around. And so does like this design around the feet here. That also continues around the feet, as you can see. No side leg detail, like on the thighs or whatever. Just mainly detail on the boots. So overall, that is pretty much going to be it for Captain Marvel. I didn't make the helmet because I just wanted to be done with this figure, and that helmet would have taken me even forever to make, and which means I would have had to basically like straight up leave the hairpiece on there, which I wanted to use this hairpiece for other figures. So overall, that's pretty much going to be it for Captain Marvel. I think one of like the cleaner paint jobs I've done this year, right next to Mr. Fantastic and Superior Iron Man, which we will get to. But overall, yeah, there's Captain Marvel. Also, she was just straight up boring in the movie, but she had a pretty cool suit. It was basically just like the same Captain Marvel suit, just recolored in black and silver. So yeah. So moving on to the final figure and the best figure in the showcase and this project is Tom Cruise's Superior Iron Man. So I replaced Mordo with Superior Iron Man because Mordo just like, I don't know, just had like a way more complicated design. Looked like one was going to take me like so long to make, and his design wasn't that interesting. So I decided to go with Superior Iron Man because he had a lot more of an interesting design, and it actually looked doable. Like his design actually looked doable to make into a Lego minifigure. So that's what I did, and I've been working on, and I started this figure like back in like mid-July, and this figure was not easy, and actually did use a technique that I'm actually starting to do more frequently now with Lego minifigures, which we will get to that. But starting off with the head, the head was originally going to be sculpted, like this part here was going to be originally sculpted, like even the hairbrush was going to be originally sculpted, but I decided just to go with a minifigure head. And it works better. It actually worked better than what the whole sculpt. The thing is, like, the whole sculpt did not look that great. So, like, the painted head looks better. So it's just like a standard Lego minifigure head. No, it's yellow. So I basically just like painted them. I just painted it in silver, and I did paint like the face. And I didn't really try to get it look like Tom Cruise. And it was like a standard Tony Stark face that I basically just painted on. I didn't paint like the standard Lego minifigure eyes. I guess like in some fan arts, he did have like the eyes like glowing. And that's the thing with this figure. This figure is just parts of my own design and parts of different people's fan art designs. And that's what I did here, and that's what made this figure so fun to make, is actually making the designs while I was painting the figure. So that was a fun part of this figure to do. So yeah, the head just has like some simple paint detail around here. The hairpiece, like I use this hairpiece for so many figures. I used it for Shang-Chi. Doctor Strange and Doctor Octopus. I used it for so many figures, and it works pretty well. And if you can see, like, above here, like that little gold dot, that is actually the Mind Stone, because there's a rumor that Superior Iron Man will have 3 Infinity Stones, that being the Mind Stone, Power Stone, and Time Stone, which the Power Stone and Time Stone are right here on the torso, which we will get to right now. The torso piece here is fully sculpted. Like, this entire piece right here in the middle of the figure, in the middle of the torso, is fully sculpted, and these 2 parts here were 3D pieces, and this is like kind of like what's under all like the silver armor, and that works pretty well, and that looks pretty cool. And I did use the same silver gunmetal color that I used on Captain Marvel on this figure. So you can see all that. You can see the Power Stone and Time Stone there. I painted the arc reactor like in metallic blue, which is actually gonna have like a lot more of like a diamond shape. But whatever, I couldn't do it, so I decided just to go with that, and it works. And like fun fact about this piece here, right when I like take it out of the oven, because I sculpted it first and like put it in the oven so it can be dry, so I can like apply it on. This piece was literally breaking off, so I literally had to be very careful while gluing it, and it worked. So I actually had to apply glue like before gluing it on, and actually like before, so I can actually stay in place without this part breaking, because this part was really close to breaking, so I just like, fixed it. I was gonna sculpt, or at least apply something like here, so I can like continue like the bulkiness to like the waist, but I decided not to do that, and I think it looks better. The back, before I get to the arms, I'm just gonna talk about the back. The back is also similar to the arms. Like, this part is sculpted, but these parts are 3D pieces. You can see like the repulsor jets here, and these 2 parts are also 2 3D pieces. So that is it for the back. The arms were just very complicated to do. Yes, sculpted shoulder pads, wrap around 3D pieces here and around under the shoulder pad and around close to the wrist. And gluing 3D pieces like this onto the arms are never fun, because it's like a curved surface. So I have to to hold it in place, so that, because if I don't hold it in place, it will come off and it won't look that great. And it's actually, I had to go through with this on like the Hedgehog figures and things like that. So and that was not fun. Painted all the detail on there, and these arms were just my own design, and they looked very clean, and actually fit with the bulkiness of this figure. The hands do have like some simple painted hand detail right there. Hands are never fun to paint, but still did it. And yeah, and I actually did stop until like the arms when I did this figure. Last time I worked on this figure like a long time ago before school started, I only did the arms. Like, I didn't do the legs. So yeah, so the legs, I actually use a technique which I really don't like to use, but it actually works, and it's actually like a really good technique. Is that I basically applied 3D pieces onto the thighs of the minifigure's legs, which means I had to sand the legs as much as I can so that these pieces won't come off at any point, or like won't like rub off or tear off. And that was very tedious to do, because I had to like sand the legs at a precise amount so that these pieces won't tear off, and it actually worked pretty well. And because I was thinking about, do I want just to paint the design on because it won't look that bulky, or do I want to apply 3D pieces because I wanted to keep like the bulkiness of this figure? And I did apply 3D pieces on both thighs, and I did paint the designs on there. And this here, and like around like under the feet, that is also another 3D piece that's also wrapped around up to like here, and painted all the detail on. And you can see all that gunmetal and silver paint around the legs, and that was so tedious to paint, because the silver paint I use is very watery, very liquidy, and it's not easy to work with, and I have to apply multiple layers of it so I can like stay in place. It also takes a very long time to dry though, so yeah. You can see all the design paint on here. You can see like these line designs here to continue onto here and actually do another design here and do wrap around there. This part, like, I actually had a lot of fun painting the design on these legs because I was just like making it up while painting it, and that's like, you know, it's like the fun part of this figure. So you can see all that painted detail around the legs. See, like very like nanotech and like, you know, like something from a different universe. And of course, the detail does wrap around all four sides of the main figure's legs. And you can see that this design here just continue onto there. And you can see some gunmetal paint there. So overall, that is pretty much going to be it for Superior Iron Man. I just love the way this figure turned out. I think one of the best figures I made in 2022, except the best figure that I made in 2022 goes to Darth Vader. That place still goes to Darth Vader. Might do a top 10 best made figures I've done in the year, but overall, guys, that was gonna be the final figure of the showcase and this project, and now it's time to finally wrap up this video. And also, before I wrap up this video, I do want to show you on how you can make a quick makeshift Captain Card. This is the same Captain Card figure I used in my Avengers the King Dynasty trailer. So basically what I did here is I took like a standard like brown hair piece that you can get, like, I think I got this like from Hermione from Harry Potter, but this is also another option, which I think this option is just better in my opinion. But either both would work, or any other brown hair piece that you can use. I used the Wonder Woman head from like the DC CMF series. That works pretty well and actually captures Haley Atwell's likeness pretty well, just for a makeshift figure. And I did use the Captain America torso from like the Avengers sets, like probably maybe like from late or like early 2021, and just gave her gave the shield. You know, it's just like, it's just a very simple figure. I would include a jetpack, but this hairpiece won't allow me to. But overall, that's actually how you make a quick makeshift Captain Carter figure. So, and now it's time to finally wrap up this video. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for my Illuminati spin-off project. Hope you enjoyed this series of 2 videos that I made for this project. This project was a project I was very passionate about. I loved Illuminati and Multiverse of Madness, and I'm looking back at it, I think they're wasted. Mainly John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic and Patrick Stewart's Professor X. But overall, I had such a fun time making all these figures, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, because like this was originally this showcase video was originally gonna be Captain Marvel and Superior Iron Man, but I thought about it more, and I didn't think that Professor X warranted his own video, so I decided just to showcase these 3 in one video. So, and the time of recording this video, it's the 10th, but I'm going to release this on the 17th, because I just want to work on because I want to get back to work on my Daredevil figure, which all I have to do is like work on the legs and just like paint the batons. And I do want to start on my Ant-Man the Wasp Quantum minifigures, which I will give an update on a community post, so look out for that. And I will give an update on my Avengers Secret Wars trailer version 1. I will give an update on those 2 things on two separate posts. But overall, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video, and these figures are like some of my best work that I've done this year. And let me know if I should do a top 10 best figures of 2022 that I've made. I think that'll be really cool to make before. I think that'll be a really cool video to make before the year ends. So let me know if I should do that. And overall, yeah, that's gonna be it. And hope you all enjoyed. And this is Legomnews signing out. Have a great day, everyone.